Here comes a duck, top of the board, pure skill, not love. Knows every ridge, every rock, every line. While you're still loading, he's taking your spine. Map knowledge deep like an ancient scroll. Reads the terrain like it's part of his soul.
Hello Mr. Ranny Duck and welcome back for another video, and today we've got two replays to show you in the tier 10 British tech tree medium tank, the FV4202. Now I did have a viewer's request to get some replays of this tank, so I managed to get two to show you off today. And if you want to see the crew and equipment setup I'm running in the tank, you can see that in the bottom of the screen as I speak. But for the first replay, we are here on Dukla Pass, where we are platooned up with a big Swindle 321 in his Jaeger E100. And there is no enemy light tanks in this matchmaking, and also no enemy fun police. So we've got some nice matchmaking for a change in today's replay. Now initially I'm going to go and try and play the left hand side of the map. Try and use my view range, being that there is no light tanks in the game, to try and spot for my team, see if we can pick up any assistance early, and try and find, where the enemy team are playing. Already I am slightly concerned that there isn't too many tanks going alongside Swindle, and I think he is a little bit worried and concerned about that as well. But I want to try and play this side of the map because it kind of suits me a little bit better, being that there is no light tank. Now we do spot a enemy Mantis at the start of the game, and we managed to pick up a nice early shot into them. You do have 420 alpha on your standard rounds, but one thing this FV has is it actually is his premium rounds is actually HESH rounds. You've got 210 penetration on your premium HESH rounds with 510 alpha. So when you are penning with those HESH, it can be really juicy, and it definitely massively boosts your DPM. One thing I probably don't do enough is fire enough of them, to be fair, when I play this tank. It's one of the reasons. Personally, I actually, although I don't mind this tank, I do quite enjoy it, just because it's a British medium, and I do like the sort of play styles. I'm a little bit biased, if I'm honest, but I probably prefer the Action X over this tank. Having said that, it's still a decent tank, 10 degrees of gun depression. Your turret armor's okay when you're actually using your full degrees of gun depression, but it's not as a good turret as the Action X. So we managed to pick up a tiny bit of assistance, actually a decent amount of assistance there for spotting. Bear in mind, not to say, there's no enemy light tank, so I'm trying to push aggressively to get that assistance. I'm on 2,000 assistance already, but if you pay attention to the mini-map, Swindle is screaming in my ear right now, saying there's a lot of tanks pushing him on the right-hand side, which there is, in fairness. Now, I have an option. I could turn back, and maybe I should turn back, but I wanted to try and win this side as fast as I can. Annoyingly missing that Mantis is frustrating, because that's going to waste my time a little bit on trying to remove this tank. And I can't really afford to waste this time. I need my team to push with me to kill these tanks, because it's all like 4 or 5 tanks in this location, right? So I need to kill them quickly so that we can return back to defend the base. But obviously I can only do so much. I'm doing as much as I can. I'm moving as fast as I possibly can to clear off this side. I can't really move at a faster pace than I'm going at right now, but I need to remove these tanks so that we have a chance of defending the base. If we can kill these quick enough, I can then turn around and I can then worry about tanks behind, knowing that I've cleared this side out. But Swindle is all by his lonesome right now, and yeah, he is. He's telling me to come back, and to be fair, I'm just like, yeah, I know, but I want to try and kill this tank and get the damage as fast as I possibly can, and just pray the enemy team don't cap out, to be honest with you. Bouncing these shots is far from ideal, because it's just delaying me. He is he's probably a 2-shot to us unless I penned him with a HESH, which is probably something I was doing. I probably should do. I probably should have just loaded the HESH and penned him in 1 shot here. Now I definitely should have loaded the HESH, because he's got 1 hit point, right? I would have killed him if I'd have loaded the HESH. So I should have loaded the HESH. It is still a fairly close game. I know Swindle's been taken out, but if you look on the mini-map, we still have like 5 tanks at the sort of F2 location. So they can't in theory really cap out until they've removed those tanks. So although it is swinging in the enemy's favour, the game isn't lost yet. It is still winnable, but it's going to be a tough fight basically to come back into this. So there's still 2 tanks I could remove here, which would even up the scoreline. I don't really want to eat too much damage, but I am eating shots just because I'm trying to push that pace, and time is essentially not on my side, so I am going to have to take riskier shots. I do get the kill shot in the mill too, picking up our 3rd kill. Put us on the 3,500 assistance with 3,400 damage now. Still an 8 versus 9, so like I say, this game definitely isn't lost yet. But it is close. So we actually have the hit point advantage like currently. So this game isn't as lost as probably Swindle was telling me at this point. But it's certainly not looking great for us, but still winnable. We spot a 2nd Mantis, which is actually full health. Now I need to remove this tank, otherwise it's going to come behind us and put a clip into us when we're trying to return and go back to the base. So I need to remove this tank, but again, I don't want to eat a clip out of it because he can clip us out in one clip. So what I need is this heavy tank, who is thankfully coming with me, to push as fast and as aggressive as possible so we can remove this tank together. And like I say, being quick is the essence to trying to win this game right now. So I am going to try and get a shot into him here, put one in. And we actually, we probably could swap to the Hesh rounds again. Like I say, one of the things, I'm not firing enough Hesh, but it's because sometimes you fire them, you don't pen, and I just wanted to make sure I penned the shot. So I also wanted the improved shell velocity, right? The shell velocity on your standard rounds is actually beautiful. You've got 1,478. The Hesh shell velocity is still decent with 1,073, but I just love that lightning shell velocity of standard rounds. So now 5 versus 6, and the enemy team have managed to kill all the tanks, which is stopping them capping the base. Now, at this point, again, it's still very, very close. We actually have the more hit points of the 2 teams here, but the problem I've got is if the enemy team start to cap out. If the enemy team all come back this way and I'm able to stay here and fight, I actually feel pretty confident that I've got at least some of the tanks with me, but I could actually win this game. But the problem I've got now is the enemy team are capping out, so I'm going to have to go back for the reset because otherwise we're going to lose this game. What concerns me is that when I go back to the reset, my 3 tanks which I've left behind are going to die. But I don't have a choice. Now what I really need to happen is my 3 tanks are left fighting. I need them to probably kill like at least two of the tanks which are there for me to have a decent chance of still winning the game. Because I can then go back and kill the tank in the cap circle, and then that might leave me fighting 3 tanks at the end. But unfortunately they're surrounded, and this is the problem. If I was there to help them at this point, I still think we could have won that fight. There was actually quite a few one-shots on the enemy team left at this stage, so I could have helped them, but then we would have lost by a cap. So I just didn't have a choice about the matter, so it's taken out of my own hands. I wanted to try and win the game. I wanted to just try and do as much as I can, so I'm just hoping my friendly team can do a good job when they're fighting those tanks on the other side, and maybe just, even if they don't win, just try and kill as many as they can, do as much damage as you possibly can to give us a chance, because I'm going to have to go and get this reset. At this point I have no idea on the hit points of this tank in the cap circle. I don't know what I'm running into, but I'm just going to try and hope that he's low health. There's a minute left of the clock. Getting a reset's not a concern. I'm going to get that, but you can see my team are just getting taken out over there. They haven't actually killed any of the tanks chasing them, so it's left me in a 1 versus 6 scenario, which is far from ideal, but we're not going to give up. Then the tank gets off the cap circle. We are able to kill him, but we're now in a 1 versus 5. Like I say, if we would have killed like a couple of tanks over there, this game would have still been winnable. Now, at this point, it's going to be a real tough battle. 1 versus 5. I tried to continue going one way while I was spotted to hopefully try and turn. And basically, I can't win if 5 tanks are pushing me at the same time. I need to try and hope that they split up looking for me, and I can hope that they're on low hit points. 12% hit points remaining with 5 tanks means that there's likely to be a few tanks which are one shot. So I need to try and pick off those tanks to give me the best chance of winning this game. Now, as I try and make this advance, I was thinking of hugging the one line. Now, annoyingly, this Murat spots me just at the wrong time, because that tank is a one shot. He's now hold down to me. The biggest concern I've got now is I can get safe from this Murat. That's not a problem. But I'm spotted. That means all the 5 tanks are going to be making their way to my location. And that's what I wanted to avoid. I should have hugged the border more, and then I should have gone down the 1-2 safely so the Murat couldn't spot me. But I was obviously playing a little bit of a gamble here. I'm hoping to finish off this Murat fast, because again, that's the only way I'm going to win this game. Once the rest of the tanks get here, yeah, I'm not going to be able to kill all 5 at once. So unfortunately we get spotted as we try and leave. We do bounce a shot though. We're going to try and put one into that enemy heavy tank. We put him now on a 1. We now know we're getting pushed by 3 tanks, which are all a 1 shot. I need to try and kill and confirm shots. So we do put one into the heavy. We finish him off. Manage to not avoid taking any damage here. We're going to try and finish off this medium next to give us the best chance here. But that Centuro, frustratingly, is a 2-shot. The Murat, which pushes around the corner, puts one into me. We do finish him off, but it is into a 1 versus 3. But we've only got 700 hit points left, and this Centuro is just coming full whack in. Yeah, and we wasn't able to. He bounced, you know, kill him. He had the clip there, and we get taken out. So we tried as hard as we could. I think if we didn't get spotted like that Murat and was able to kill him quick, we still had a chance of winning that. But we still have a good game. Ace tanker, you know, 7 kills on the loss, 6,400 damage, and a decent amount of assistance. So good game nonetheless, although shame we couldn't get the collies in the end. But let's move on to replay number 2 of this video. Okay, so we've made it back then for the final replay of the video. This time we are on Proc, and it is the encounter variant. We are platooned up with Swindle 321 again in his medium tank, but as you can see, there is no enemy artillery in this matchmaking, which is fantastic for us, because when we're playing a tank which has 10 degrees of gunner pressure and can play hold down, not having to worry about getting shot from the artillery is going to turn this map into a fantastic map for us, because we can play these ridge lines and just not having to worry about getting shot from above. The enemy team do have 2 enemy light tanks. One of them is the Vanguard, so we've got to be a little bit careful of that tank, because it can be a bit of a pest. But already we get a shot into the E50. We spot this Leopard PTA early, and it allows us to get another shot into that tank. And picking up some assistance from our friendly tank on the 1-2 line, we get off to a great start to this game. So you see the Vanguard there gets punished. That's good. The quicker we can take that tank out, the better. But one thing I don't want to do is overextend for too long to get shots in, because albeit there is only 3 enemy tank destroyers in this matchmaking, you know, one of them is a Guerrilla 15, one of them is an SVAC, and I think the other one's a Roswell. So they can still do quite a lot of damage to us if we overextend, you know, looking for a shot basically, because high possibility of them playing the 1-2 line in the bushes and looking for shots as we poke. You can see here, each time we do poke looking for a shot, we are getting targeted, so that's something to bear in mind. We're just going to try and not overextend for too long. We do have fantastic shell velocity. You see a shot just comes straight over our head there. Any longer we might have eaten one from the enemy team. So I'm basically just trying to poke for shots, poke for vision, but not overextend for too long. There's a long time left in this game. It's the encounter variant. We don't look like we're in any danger of being capped out anytime soon. So basically I'm just trying to pop my food, you know, to increase my view range, and just try and spot and try and look for those optimistic shots. As this game gets closer to the end and more tanks have been destroyed, it becomes easier and easier to get your damage. So at the start you just need to be patient and not try and force it. We look for a kill shot in the enemy Leopard PTA. Wasn't able to connect, but we do know he is a 1-shot, so that is useful information later. We're keeping an eye. You see we got our friendly pursuit mate Swindle playing the left hand side of the ridge, so we can try and basically extend where we're fighting. He can try and cover the tanks on the 0 line, while I can try and fight the tanks on the 1-2 line. And we open up a bit of a crossfire, so it's good to sort of spread ourselves out rather than playing the exact same location. So we are picking up some more assistance here every time we poke. You know, we're now up to about just shy of 2,000 assistance and 1,000 damage. We actually spot this enemy tank which is poking around the left, which puts us gives us some more assistance, which is fantastic. But as we try and poke to get the finishing kill shot in, we're getting targeted again from these tanks on the 1-2 line, so we're just being careful again not to overextend. But by spotting those targets, we've now put ourselves onto 3,000 assistance, and it's shaping up to be a good game here. Still very close on the numbers and the hit points between the two teams. So I'm not really moving from this location because there's no real sense to. It's working well for us. If I leave, I'm probably going to lose the vision on these tanks on the 1-2 line. So it's kind of essential that I'm spotting these, right? There is no light tank playing this side. So I'm really the centre hub of the view range for our team on this point of the map, which is good for me because means I don't share the assistance damage. So any of these targets I do manage to spot on the 1-2, I'm going to get assistance. Obviously I'm going to have difficulty spotting them when they're behind the bushes, but one thing you've got to remember, if they fire upon me, they're going to lose concealment values. So when they lose the concealment value when they fire, there's a chance, depending where they're playing, you can spot them. We actually managed to spot the SVAC there. Again, I'm guessing he's fired and lost a bit of concealment value. I'm now going to return the favour and put a shot into him. And we now put him onto a 2-shot to us. And, you know, we can take out that SVAC. Great. Because he does have a double tap gun, albeit he's a tier 8. He can still put some dangerous shots into us. You can see there that we lost a lot of hit points because we was overextending for too long. And I'm guessing that's from the Gorilla 15 because we lost over 700 hit points in that one shot. So unless we got double shot, then it was probably from the Gorilla or maybe this SVAC firing both of its rounds, both of its barrels. But we do manage to put a shot into that SVAC, putting him onto a 1. I'm actually going to try and finish him off. He loses his spot, but we still fire anyway, and we pick up our first kill blind. Bring this to 11 versus 13. Enemy team have the advantage again on the enemy tanks, but the hit points are still very, very close. So maybe we can get a finishing shot there. No, it's not going to be quite possible. The Mantis gets taken out though by our friendly SVAC, which is good for us because that's another tank which almost plays a crossover between a light tank. Can be a very stealthy, dangerous tank as well. So we can kill those tanks. That'd be great. Now, unfortunately, we've kind of lost the 1-2 area. We only have one tank destroyer there. So if the enemy team do push down the 1-2 line, that could make our life a little bit difficult because if they manage to successfully get to the end, they'd be putting us in a difficult position if the enemy team was playing on the A1-2 area. But thankfully for me, I can try and spot them as they cross and try and prevent that. Now we do get a shot into that enemy pattern. Is trying to full send swindle there by Toon Buddy, but he's made a mistake and he's lost pretty much all of his hit points for doing so, which is good because that's a dangerous tier 10 now out of the game. And we're coming closer to that stage where it's 8 versus 7 now. Half the enemy team have been destroyed. It's going to become easier to get these damaging shots in, but we still need to be careful. We still know there's some dangerous TDs potentially to grill on the 1-2. He hasn't been spotted yet, and I'm pretty certain that he is playing the 1-2 area. The enemy E50 is trying to cross the end of the 1-2. We do spot him. Again, I'm concerned if he gets all the way down to the 1-2, it could become a bit of a problem. So I want to try and keep him detected as long as possible. But it kind of looks like our friendly tank destroyers, if you can look on the mini-map of the A5 area, is now pushing across to go back to the 1-2 line. That's going to be very helpful for us because if he pushes the E50 or spots the E50, we're going to be able to get side shots into him and hopefully finish off another tank, bringing it down to an 8 versus 6. So again, I'm just going to stay put in this location. We are having a good game. We've got 3,000 damage, 4,000 assistance. But it's those sort of end stages of the game where I know eventually what I want to do is try and push down the sort of free line and spot all those targets in the 1-2. But I've got to time it correctly. The reason I want to do it is because I'll pick up a load of juicy assistance damage if I'm the first to spot all the targets. But I know I need to wait, and I can't do that yet. I need to kill this E50 here on the right. We have put him onto a 1-shot. Hopefully he can get finished off by our friendly TD, which he does seem to be getting shot from. We put a shot into that Roswell, bringing us closer to the 4,000 damage mark now. E50 actually gets shut down by our buddy Swindle 321 in his chisel. And I'm now going to take this opportunity, this small window, to move slightly forward into the bowl and try it again and extend our vision further from our team, giving me an opportunity to get more assistance. We've started to take full map control. The only thing really stopping me doing this now is the 1-shot to my right hand side and the enemy Vanguard. So if that Vanguard can get shut down and this heavy to our right hand side, that's going to give me the point of call to then make the play and push down and try and spot for my team. And try and, these, like for example, the Gorilla 15 might be full health. If we spot him out in the open, that's an instant sort of 2,000 hit, assistance damage basically. So we overextend, and unfortunately we get shot by the enemy Roswell. which is not great because it leaves us on a potential one-shot to the Guerrilla 15 if he high rolls into us. But we do spot a full health Lover now. At this point, I don't really know if he's AFK. Ultimately, I don't really care because I'm picking up all of the assistance for spotting that target, which is the reason I wanted to extend my view range in the first time, because I can turn my game all the way around. And now there's only 3 tanks remaining. We know it's got to be the location of the Guerrilla 15, has to be the end of the 1-2 line. There's nowhere else for him to play right now. Now the Vanguard gets taken out, I think, right, it's go time, let's just push. I don't really care if the Guerrilla 15 shoots and kills me, as long as I can spot him. That's really all I care about. This game's won, I just want the assistance. Now we spot him, he shoots us, and thankfully for us, he doesn't actually high roll, doesn't kill us. Even if he killed us, it wouldn't have mattered. We did what he wanted to do. We got the spot, we got the assistance, basically. Because that small change at the end, that boosts my game from having 4,000 assistance to now 7,500 assistance. So it's a big difference, but essentially all what I'm doing is moving forward at the right time. So we bring that to an end of the replay. We do get the ace tanker. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the content. If you do, please remember to like and subscribe. But as always, happy tanking.
Enemies panic when they hear that quack. Randups here, there's no turning back. Legend is steel, one man crew. World of tanks.